You got everything you need? You got all council docs? Okay. It is 6:30. We will call the April and the final council meeting of this council session to order. Welcome to the council, those in attendance and those who will be watching at home soon. At this time, we'll have the clerk call the roll.
Bry,
Here.
Cummings,
Here.
Beeman, Sikowitz,
Here.
Bruner,
Here.
Schley,
Here.
Reckelberg,
Here.
Vanderkin,
Here.
Bolt, here, Sakala,
Here.
9 present.
Thank you, and Alderman Beeman is excused. At this time, will everyone please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? And after the pledge, please remain standing for a prayer by our Council President, Steve Sakala. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Dear Lord, we pray that you guide us always. Satisfy the needs that need to be met during this, our last meeting. Strengthen us as we make tough decisions. We pray that we will be like a well-watered garden, like a spring whose waters never fail. We pray that we will be fruitful. Father, please guide us so that this, our last meeting as this council, can be productive. Let us be effective and decisive. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Alderman Sakala. We have a few presentations this evening. Let's see here. The first presentation will be for Hmong American Day in the city of Manitowoc. I'd like to invite up Polly and Nelson Hang, who will be receiving the proclamation. But this year, we're going to have something very special. We're going to have Nelson read the proclamation in Hmong, and we have a specific proclamation that we have written in Hmong. So we will read it in English and in Hmong this year. So I'll read it first, and then I'll invite Nelson up to speak to speak the proclamation in Hmong. It reads, whereas the Hmong American diaspora, that is the settlement of Hmong people throughout America, has direct ties to the assistance Hmong people have provided during the secret war conducted in Laos during the Vietnam War. Whereas more than 40,000 Hmong men were enlisted by the Central Intelligence Agency as allies to the U.S. military to fight communist forces operating in Laos and Vietnam and sustained large numbers of casualties and forced relocation. Whereas, unlike the soldiers, sailors, and pilots who came back from the war to their home country, the Hmong Lao people who fought in the war weren't familiar to America, even though they are credited with saving American lives. And whereas, beginning in the mid-1970s, social and church groups began assisting Hmong refugees to settle in the United States, and Manitowoc County became home to many. And whereas the first generation of immigrants reconciled the need to retain the unique traditions of their culture while also attempting to gain acceptance in their new country. And whereas the assimilation of tradition into the realities of current surroundings has resulted in a distinctive Hmong American culture. Whereas Hmong people make up Manitowoc's largest single minority ethnic group and are helping to build a vibrant and diverse Wisconsin, contributing socially, politically, and economically to our state. And whereas after more than 40 years in the United States, the Hmong community has progressed to achieving the American dream, becoming business owners and professionals in Manitowoc. And whereas last year in 2021, the city of Manitowoc was the second city in the state of Wisconsin to commemorate this day and to formally recognize and celebrate the Hmong American community. Now therefore I, Justin Nichols, Mayor of the City of Manitowoc, do hereby proclaim May 14th, 2022 to be Hmong American Day in the City of Manitowoc, and I encourage all citizens to recognize and celebrate the history, culture, and contributions of Hmong Americans in Manitowoc, the state of Wisconsin, and the United States of America. Pa, I will, Nelson, if you want to come.
Cha phanh từ chuyên trường Manitowoc, từ chapter, cái nhân từ Cha Ninh Mông America, giờ ít khó ở mong tàu nhau thông America chiến trình đầu mong giờ tàu ba có trò trời nhà la trò hậu lưu tới chừng lò theo lưu sĩ hở có trò nhà la tàu chạp ló châu phá lên chỉ nên mong ở tàu kinh lòn đời trong phú ba tu trò dài America lò ba nên ở tu trò America tua đi thay cho dân doan đời tới chờ bò thì tới chờ nha là lino tu trò mong tàu trò kế bộ chua trong thiên đạo mong mù nhớ trò lự khó mong chỉ dòng ly trong tu trò America e yo ta cả là trò tới chờ America nói trong xe lò trong mong thiên bò ở tàu ba America tua có trò nó chỉ bao giờ tới chờ America nó rong rồi tia tàu lu chiến gì tàu chờ America ra xe bị thảo lu đã cho ý phá cho bộ xa chào cho nên America theo cho vì hạ tàu là bị ba giải tỏ cho nên từ cho mong tua trâu tới chờ America nó trong mẹ tua thâu vật nó do ý lưu rõ giải tỏ mong lò nhỏ theo cho ở su tua trâu tới chờ America nó dọn dọn lại cho cái chạy cái ở na hậu thế cái ở tàu ba xe lò chạy cái chạy chiến đời cái na hậu đời lưu tế chờ America nó mong cho cái na hậu do ý giả theo dòng của do mong America mong mẹ tua do ý trả nên của trong cha hay chân đời trả nên của giờ ngày tới theo ba trong mẹ tua tàu chạy giả kế cho chia ba tàu trò sinh Wisconsin theo phong dư kế nọ chứ kế la lụa tỏ các lo cho chồng của mong tàu tua nhà trò tới chờ America nó dây rõ mong của tàu giả rong trở lý mong ra kinh cử bao xóa mua chữ khứ mua kế chân chế lưu này rong chờ trong mẹ thua nó xong ta là nó áp phá nên gọi y luôn trong mẹ thua nó giờ y luôn trong thi ở tàu kế rong xe trâu trồng mong nu ta chỉ nó rồi nó cú Justin em Nico chuyên trong mẹ thua nhớ nó cha tờ thì lúc chỉ liền duวันที่นุติกอกเปล่า May 14 อย่ามอง American Day nhớ cho luôn trong mẹ thua nó cú thia cú hai có chồng có chua tu bê sinh yếu chủ tàu lá bao ra kênh cứng rong xe nó kế cho kế nó hậu thia ba chùa nhớ cho trong mẹ thua hậu sinh Wisconsin thế tới chờ America kế chuan chùa lá bao cú giờ tu mua tu mua lưu hình chạy đời trong mẹ thua nó là nia ua bỏ thơ cho chồng cho đời nó là dân đời cú chạy tệ ua tiền hu nó giờ nhớ cho hậu City Hall đời trong mẹ thua nút tì cầu gì lúc bao liền tu xong ở phần hình của say Justin em Nico chuyên trong. Thank you, Mayor, and thank you to all the City Council and the people of Manitowoc for allowing this happen, and we appreciate it. Thank you.
Did you want to introduce some people? And Pa, I think you wanted to say some words? Yeah, yep. I think we wanted to say some words, absolutely.
Let me start with me. This supposed to come, I don't know. They're pulling my leg, I guess, tonight. Nelson Heng, I live at 2234 South 10th Street in Manitowoc. And I moved to Manitowoc since 1989. And me as Pa, Young Moon, that she's helping our community and coming doing this program. I also really appreciate to Pa Lee too. And with that will be my family, my wife, Belinda Heng, and also my son, Peter Heng. Thank you.
Thank you. Pa, if you'd like.
Hi, everyone. My name is Pa. I just want to thank you all for joining us today. I want to also thank Mayor Justin Nichols and Stacey Grohl for putting this together and for us getting Hmong American Day proclaimed again. I just want to say that I'm sorry that last time we were not really prepared, so we weren't able to get the proclamation read in Hmong, but I'm very glad that this year we were able to be joined by Nelson to be able to translate it. So I'm hoping in the following events, we are able to be more prepared. I think Justin Mayor Nichols mentioned that on Saturday, March 14th of this year, we will also have Hmong American Day be held at the Manitowoc Public Library in a celebration, so you guys are all welcome to join us. Again, like I said, I want to thank you guys on the council for being here today. I just have a few words that I'll prepare for you guys. I'm just going to address my Hmong community for a second, and then I'll go ahead and continue some words in English. Nhớ trong cho hệ này tôn chỉ biết nó na của chúng mong hai lu mong trong hành mình chỉ có hai chân lu hồ mình cảm thấy chỉ có hai chân lu hồ mong na, okay. So let me start off by saying that I know this event may not be understood by a lot of you out there in the community, but it is really important to me and other individuals as far as getting the Hmong American Day proclaimed. I want everyone to know that it's extremely important to our community to recognize the citizens of our community as not only as Hmong Americans, but as Hmong immigrants and as Hmong refugees. I know that many of us are just making it day by day, and we are just scratching the surface. I know that personally I'm one of those who reaps in the benefits of those suffered before me. I think that it is safe to say that many of us struggle to make it in this country, especially because we grew up from a family of immigrants and refugees, and we also struggle to assimilate into this country where our family does not always know the English language, and a lot of us come from low-income families. I want to make sure that through my struggle, I was able to get back to my community. I always thought that it was so important to preserve my identity, my culture. It was something that my dad always raised me up on. Luckily, being one of the first in my family to be born in the US, I saw life from so many different perspectives. I knew what it was like to be a refugee. I know what it's like to be someone from a low-income background, and yet I also saw how privileged I was to be a US citizen. I want to take my experience and make the best of it, and I hope that by proclaiming Hmong American Day, we not only get to make a staple and our presence known, but we don't forget where we came from, and we get to honor those who became before us, including our elders. I hope that everyone knows that this is just the beginning, and I promise to continue to make a commitment to our community so that we know that there is power and weight behind our identity and our history. As for our path and our futures, we are not just a group of minorities, but we are a force, and we get to determine who we are and design our path and create our stories. I'm so grateful that we and the rest of the world get to see what we are capable of. Being such a new minority in this country, so many of us get the opportunity to say that we are the first in our family to do this, or we get to say we are the first Hmong person to do this. Technically, other than another Hmong person, no one gets to take that away from us, and I think that that's a great advantage to being Hmong, and I think it's very beautiful. I hope that by getting May 14th proclaimed as Hmong American Day, we show others that our goals and our dreams are possible and who we are matters, in addition to where we came from, and to say that we are proud and we are able to honor our past. Thank you. I will now be saying a few words in Hmong, so I'm just gonna apologize ahead of time. I'm not the best at speaking Hmong, I get really nervous. So I hope that those who do speak Hmong can understand me. Again, Gujong She Hai Tia Ni Tôn Ji Bei Tau Nu No, Gu thought the idea gu chalu gu chopo halumong, Jekuma hai jong gu to gu sa nipo hai tia nuno hai tia gu kusi ko hai tia beyon mong mi ga shi gu kusi hai tia beyo also mong to gu sap ne bỏ hai tia nuno gu chơi hai tia gu no hote chơi mi ga gu yu hote chơi mi ga shi gu kusi hai tia gu yom mong mi ga thế nào? Sorry, thought tia gu kusi hai tia gu yom mong mi ga shi gu kusi hai tia gu nia gì le o hulu shi jo heng ba gu to like lu like nó cho nữ gu sap bu gu sap ba gu cho mong neng thế gu hai tia gu chi gu mà cho sorry gu mà cho nữ ba neng thế gu hai tia gu sa nè bao hai tia gu trong xe hai tia nữ nó biết to mong lu nó lu chỉ li nữ cột lô who to mong American Day chỉ gu cho xe hai tia nên đó biết tôi anh ấy bảo tôi theo cho nên tôi khen nữa ô cho thank you.
Thank you very much for that wonderful presentation, and we look forward to May 12th at the Manitowoc Public Library at 10 o'clock till noon. May 14th. That was a couple days early. Sorry, thank you. All right, our next proclamation is for Professional Municipal Clerks Week. So one thing we're doing through the League of Wisconsin Municipalities and other communities is really trying to recognize the work and efforts of our municipal clerks and our election officials. They've gone through a lot of scrutiny over these last few elections, and undeservingly so, because they have some of the most highest integrity and work ethic of anyone, and they just care about having fair elections. So one thing we want to do is just share with the public a lot of what they actually do behind the scenes and the hard work that they and all election officials and clerks throughout the country have done for, as you'll hear from the proclamation, for literally ever. So I'm going to present this to Mackenzie Reed-Cotto, our city clerk. Yeah. And she's going to say a lot of words after. All right, it reads, whereas the office of the professional municipal clerk, a time-honored and vital part of local government, exists throughout the world. And whereas the office of the professional municipal clerk provides the professional link between the citizens, the local governing bodies, the agencies of government at all other levels. And whereas the office of the professional municipal clerk is the oldest among public servants. Didn't know that. And whereas professional municipal clerks have pledged to be ever mindful of their neutrality and impartiality, rendering equal service to all. Whereas the professional municipal clerk serves as the information center on functions of local government and community. Whereas professional municipal clerks continually strive to improve the administration of the affairs of the office of clerk through participation in education programs, seminars, workshops, and the annual meetings of their state, county, and international professional organizations. Whereas it is most appropriate that we recognize the accomplishments of the office of our clerk. Now, therefore, I, Justin Nichols, Mayor of the City of Manitowoc, hereby proclaim the week of May 1st through May 7th, 2022, as Professional Municipal Clerks Week, and further extend appreciation to the City of Manitowoc's professional municipal clerk, Mackenzie Reed-Cotto, and all of her staff and the professional municipal clerks for their vital services they perform and their exemplary dedication to the community they represent. Mackenzie, would you like to say a few words?
Sure, I'd be delighted to. And while it may be the oldest position, I'm still younger than you.
I thought attorney was the oldest one, but
I'm delighted to accept this proclamation. I honestly couldn't do it without the wonderful staff that I have and all of our very many poll workers that help to make elections run smoothly. So if there's anyone out there who is interested in getting involved in your local elections, please just reach out to my office, and I'm always looking for more folks, but it's certainly not an office of one, and I couldn't do it without my staff and the many other people that help us do the work we do every day.
you can frame that in your office now, and you know. All right, we have one other one that's not on the agenda, but we never put it on the agenda. We have an outgoing alder. This is his last meeting serving the city of Manitowoc. So, John, if you would like to come on up, you're going to have to say a few words too. Hold it to just a few words, please. That means nothing. So John has represented District 5 from April 21st, 2020 until today, which is his last meeting, April 18th, 2022. He's been on a plethora of different committees: Finance, Public Infrastructure, where he served as the chair, Board of Public Works, Board of Review, Community Development Authority, Harbor Commission, Manitowoc Area Visitor and Convention Bureau, Wisconsin Maritime Museum, Board of Trustees. Probably a couple were missing in there, but John has been not just on council throughout the community, a supporter of a lot of the events, most notably the Mariners Trail, which I believe you basically started? Founded, yeah, back 2000, back when you were a young lad. But he's been a supporter of the community for many, many years. So today is his last meeting, and we just are going to present you with this plaque. Thank you for your dedication and service to our community, representing District 5 in the city of Manitowoc, and your service to the citizens of the city of Manitowoc, presented this 18th day of April, 2022. John?
Thank you very much.
Let's you say a few words.
I'll keep it short.
Yeah, no, yeah.
Well, first of all, I want to congratulate Darian Kotarabic, who is with us tonight. I'm confident that you will be a great replacement on the city council. So congratulations again to you. I want to also thank the council, the mayor, the wonderful staff of the city of Manitowoc, the people of District 5, and of course, all the people of the city of Manitowoc for allowing me to be on this council. It's been a pleasure and a privilege, and I wish nothing but the best for not only all of you, but the whole city of Manitowoc. So thank you. Thanks.
All right, thank you, Alderman Brunner, and got a couple votes left in you, I guess. All right, we'll move to public hearing. We have one for the purpose of hearing any and all interested parties in the matter of a proposed change in zone from B1 Office Residential District to B4 Central Business District for property located at 435 North 8th Street. We'll have the clerk read the proof of publication.
Notice of this public hearing was published in the Herald Times Reporter on April 4th and April 11th.
Thank you. Adam Tagan, our Community Development Director.
All right, this is relatively straightforward. This is a property that was formerly built as the synagogue in town. In 2018, it was purchased by a private entity and converted to a single-family residence, which was allowed under the B1 district. They have been approached by vendors from the recently closed antique mall that was out by the interstate, so they are looking to relocate that into this facility. Under the zoning code, that does require a different zoning district. We looked at a couple of different districts. Originally, we were looking at the B3 district, but upon further review and looking at the comprehensive plan, we felt B4 Central Business District was more appropriate. It did go through the Planning Commission for a public informational hearing. The only comments we received back was from a property owner to the south who just wanted to make it clear that they have a private parking lot and they would prefer that people who are visiting this business not use their private parking lot. But there is a very generous amount of on-street parking in and around this particular location. So based on that, staff and the Planning Commission do recommend approval of the rezoning.
Thank you, Adam. Are there any questions from the council for Adam at this time? If not, this is a public hearing for this specific subject matter. If there's anyone interested in speaking on this specific subject matter, you may do so at this time. Just raise your hand. Anyone interested in speaking on this specific subject matter? Yes, sir. If you want to come up to the podium, please, and just state your name for the record.
Hello, my name is Michael Merrill. I'm the owner of the aforementioned property, and I'm here to, if anybody has any questions or anything about it. We're really looking forward to making this an asset for the community and serving the community with this business.
We don't ask questions at this point,
Oh, sorry.
but when it does come up for a discussion, and if there are any from the council, if you're still willing to sit here for a little bit, we'll
Sure.
obviously, they can ask you at that point, but thank you for making yourself available tonight. No, thank you. Anyone else interested in speaking on this specific subject matter? Going once, twice, we will close this public hearing. We'll move into public input. If there's anyone from the public interested in speaking on anything germane to the business of the city of Manitowoc, you may do so at this time. Anyone interested in speaking? Once, twice, did we have any previously submitted?
We did not.
All right, 1, 2, 3, we will close public input. We'll move to appointments. There are none this evening, but I will have a slew of them for you tomorrow. We'll move then to the consent agenda. Anything to be removed from the consent agenda? Alderman Sikowitz.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I would like to remove document 22-0233 under the Public Infrastructure Committee.
All right, 22-0233, we will take that up separately. Anything else to be removed from the consent agenda? Seeing none, then I would look for a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Motion second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried unanimously. We'll move to page 7 under committee reports, item I, Committee of the Whole, and we will start with Council President Steve Sakala.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The clerk has our documents.
Document 22-345 is a report of the Special Events Committee recommending approval for the Memorial Day Parade and Ceremony, the HFM Freighter Maritime Marathon, and Lakeshore Balloon Glow and Wendigo Fest. Committee returns same, recommending approval.
Council, your pleasure on this report.
Move to approve the report, Mr. Mayor.
Second.
Motion second, discussion. Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried unanimously.
Document 346 is an ordinance regulating terms of boards, commissions, and committees. Committee returns same, recommending to adopt the ordinance.
Council, your pleasure on this ordinance.
Move to adopt the ordinance, Mr. Mayor.
Second.
Motion second, discussion. Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried unanimously. Thank you. Anything else, Alderman Sakala?
No, Mr. Mayor, but while I have the floor, real quick, I would like to thank Kathleen here for making this job as president so much easier over the last year. Good luck in your future endeavors. Thank you so much, and I hope our next attorney is half as good as you. So thank you.
Thank you.
And that concludes our business, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Alderman Sakala. You have one left, right?
I have one
Okay, just making sure that, don't let her get off that easily, please. But since it is your last day as council president technically now in this term, yes, thank you. All right, thank you. We'll move to the Finance Committee and Alderman Jim Bry is chair.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The clerk has the documents.
Document 304 is a review and discussion on a potential term sheet development agreement with MTM. Committee returns same, recommending to approve the term sheet development agreement with MTM.
Council, your pleasure on this report.
Move for the adoption of the committee's report, Mr. Mayor.
Second.
Motion and a second, discussion. Alderman Bry.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Once again, another great expansion by a local established company here in Manitowoc, MTM. It's a great business and expanding once again. There's no wonder why we're looking at expanding our industrial park to the south, or the land we purchased last year. Our industrial park, the I-43 part, is nearly full. I would say east of the Silver Creek. So we're moving forward. Things are good. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman Bry. Any further discussion? Yeah. You're good. Okay. Any further discussion? Seeing none, then all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And one abstention?
Well, I must abstain from
Yep,
this vote.
Alderman Bolt. So the motion carries 8-0-2, or 1. And Alderman Bolt abstaining. Thank you.
Document 306 is an ordinance amending Manitowoc Code 3.150, creating a room tax commission. Committee returns same, recommending to adopt the ordinance.
Council, your pleasure on this ordinance.
Move for the adoption of the ordinance, Mr. Mayor.
Second.
Motion and a second, discussion. Alderman Vanderkin.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, just reading through this amendment to the ordinance, I would like to see an amendment to this proposed amendment to move back to having the room tax commission, with all things being considered at the moment, with the things going on with the room tax commission, that the commission acting as its own legal entity, as its own legal body, elect its own chairperson and not have the mayor serve as a permanent chair of the commission. That's all. We'll make that motion.
Okay, there's a motion to amend to remove the language that the mayor is the chair, or permanent chair. Is there a second? Second by Reckelberg. Discussion on the amendment. Alderman Sikowitz.
Any rationale for that amendment? I mean, I understand why the change was made, just because at the commission level, it's a rotating board of where it's the council president, the finance chair, and then a committee member at large from the council. So being that there's rotation there, sometimes some uniformity is good with continuity of the chairman. So I'm just wondering for the rationale behind that motion.
The rationale behind the motion is considering that the room tax commission is its own legal body and having a permanent person from the city being overseeing it, whereas somebody else, given it could be somebody from the Wisconsin lodging industry, could be put as the chair. I mean, it could be it's up to the commission as a whole, not just the mayor as the permanent chair of that commission.
Anything, Alderman Sitkowitz, you still have the floor?
Nope, that answers my question.
Okay. Any further discussion on the amendment? Again, we're just voting on the amendment. All those in favor of the amendment?
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Can we see the ayes, please? So Reckelberg and Vanderkin, so the motion fails 7-2. So we're back to the original motion, with the original ordinance as presented. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
No.
Can we see the no, just the two? Okay, Reckelberg and Vanderkin voting no, so the motion carries 7-2.
Document 368 is a resolution to approve the City of Manitowoc acceptable use policy for technology and information resources. Committee returns same, recommending to adopt the resolution.
What's your pleasure on this resolution?
Move for adoption of the resolution, Mr. Mayor.
Second.
Motion and a second, discussion. Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried unanimously.
Document 369 is an update from Manitowoc Public Utilities on the wastewater treatment facility. Committee returns same, recommending to accept and place on file.
What's your pleasure on this report?
Move for the adoption of the committee's report, Mr. Mayor.
Second.
Motion and a second, discussion. Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion,
One opposed.
okay, so motion carries 8-1. Alderman Reckelberg voting no.
Document 370 is a resolution authorizing execution of the Department of Natural Resources Principal Forgiven Financial Assistance Agreement. Committee returns same, recommending to adopt the resolution.
What's your pleasure on this resolution?
Move for the adoption of the resolution, Mr. Mayor.
Second.
Motion and a second, discussion. Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried unanimously. Anything else, Alderman Bride?
Quickly, I'd like to thank Alderman Bruner, too, who served on the Finance Committee his entire term here on the Common Council. We're going to miss you, but thank you for enjoy. You're always welcome back to come and speak at public comments if you wish. And assuming that, I guess the Finance Committee won't change, we'll see after tomorrow's meeting, but tentatively scheduled, the next meeting will be Tuesday, May 3rd at 5:30 PM. So, thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. We'll move to the Personnel Committee, and Alderman Eric Sitkowitz is chair.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and the clerk has our documents this evening.
Document 293 is resignation notice from City Attorney McDaniel. Committee returns same, recommending to accept and place on file.
Council, your pleasure on motion to deny.
I
I'm
move-
sorry, is that what it was? I wasn't really paying attention.
I'd like to deny, unfortunately. I move to accept the committee's report, Mr. Mayor.
Second.
Motion and a second. Discussion. Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried unanimously.
Document 294 is resignation notice of Finance Director Alfred. Committee returns same, recommending to accept and place on file.
I can't make fun of this one because he's not here.
I know.
Council, your pleasure on this report.
Move for the adoption of the committee's report, Mr. Mayor.
Second.
Motion second. Discussion. Alderman Reckelberg.
Since he isn't here, should we just deny it and make him show up at,
Well, he just had his appendix removed, so I don't know if you really want him to actually show up.
okay, well, in that case, I won't create problems.
There you go. Smart.
Thank you.
Yeah. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried unanimously.
Document 349 is a resolution to approve the revised firefighter paramedic job description. Committee returns same, recommending to adopt the resolution.
Council, your pleasure on this resolution.
Move for the adoption of the committee's report, Mr. Mayor.
Second.
Motion second. Discussion. Alderman Sitkowitz.
Yeah, just a quick update on the reason what the change was. I want to thank Chief Blazer for bringing this to the attention of HR and kind of the process. We know how difficult it is to find applicants, especially in the firefighting paramedic world. Our job description listed age 21 to be the requirement, and actually we can do age 18. So that was the update to that. So hopefully we can get a couple younger recruits in that process right out of high school, that we don't get them through the training. So I just want to open it up and make it a little bit easier to become a fireman paramedic for the city of Manitowoc.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none, then all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried unanimously.
Document 350 is a resolution to approve employee policy manual revisions dated April 2022. Committee returned same, recommending to adopt the resolution.
Council, your pleasure on this resolution.
Move for the adoption of the committee's report, Mr. Mayor.
Second.
Motion and a second. Discussion. Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried unanimously. Anything else, Alderman Sitkowitz?
Nothing at this time. That does complete our business.
Thank you. We'll move to the Public Infrastructure Committee for his last time. Alderman John Bruner with a robust amount of items to approve.
Well, Alderman Sitkowitz doubled it tonight by pulling that out.
True.
The clerk has the documents.
All right, document 233 is a how request use of city-owned land for the establishment of a stormwater retention facility at Reed Avenue in Lincoln Park. Committee returned same, recommending approval.
Council, your pleasure on this report.
Move for the adoption of the committee's report.
Second.
Motion and a second. Discussion. Alderman Sitkowitz.
Thank you. Just so I can have a minute to say why I pulled it off of consent and the one concern I have. And I'm kind of torn on it because I love the development. I think it's excellent use of private property there for the 34 home development. My concern is the use of current parkland for the waste or the stormwater retention pond. And not that I'm opposed to actually using that piece of city property, but that there's no consideration given to the city for the use of that property, which ultimately, if it was the developer's land, would be turned over to the city. So it's a little bit mute, but my concern is 20 years from now, if a development is going next to what we would deem pristine parkland, and we've now set a precedent that we are using parkland for stormwater retention to a private development. We don't really have any mechanism to decline that because we've done it, or would be doing it now. So if there was some consideration given to the city for that property, and then deeded back to the city, that would allow us in the future, if we couldn't come to terms on a piece of property, that at least we're making an effort to have some consideration back that. I don't know if it made its way to the attorney's office for what it looks like when we actually would use city property for a private development. But if the city attorney could weigh in, if it would be precedent setting, I think that would be appropriate.
Sure, Kathleen.
Sure. Speaking briefly, I've had a number of conversations with the community development director about this project. I do have a file in my office on park ownership, and I understand the community development director has researched this and thinks that in terms of the way we acquired this parkland, there isn't a deed restriction that would preclude this usage. However, in terms of the precedential setting, ability going forward, I would like to have the opportunity just to review this and figure out if there's some way we could structure this to still allow the project to proceed forward that wouldn't be binding or precedential. And like you mentioned, perhaps some consideration from the developer could allow us to have the flexibility to deny future requests like this in the future, should we not want to allow them. So if you could give me a little time to write an opinion, I could have that ready for the May meeting.
Yep, you still have the floor, Alderman Sitkowitz.
So I would hope for sooner than that, and because I don't want to hold up the development, I'm sensitive, I don't want to hold up the development. I'd like to see it go forward. I think this is just a oversight that we can get corrected in the process. So I was hoping that we could have an opinion sooner than later, and if need be, I would ask either President Zakala, whoever president is, to hold a special, or the mayor to hold a special council meeting so that we could approve this project, because I don't want to hold up construction and what have you as we are getting, into spring and hopefully warmer weather. But, so I want to see this development happen. I'm concerned about the precedent setting. So I'd like you to review it sooner than later, and then get in contact with the mayor to hold a special council meeting to get this approved.
You guys will do anything to get me an extra council meeting, won't you?
Uh-huh.
Sure. I can definitely make that happen. I think tomorrow night's gonna be too tight to turn it around, but I'm happy to work with Adam Tagan this week, and we'll get something sorted out and get a special meeting scheduled as quickly as we can.
So I would move to refer to the city attorney's office for review.
Okay, there is a motion. There's a second by Alderman Reckelberg. Discussion. Alderman Bruner.
I guess I'll have to refer back to Kathleen. Kathleen, do you feel as though Eric's concerns are legitimate, things that we should be looking at?
I do have some limited concern about that, simply because I don't want us to be in the position where, for example, someone wants to do a residential development next to Camp Vitz and suddenly says, well, hey, let me just throw a pond out here. Not all of our parkland is acquired in such a fashion that we don't have restrictions on it. So I'd like to see something structured going forward, either with some consideration for the developer here or just some parameters so that we don't put the city in a bad position where all of a sudden we're turning, Camp Vitz or Silver Creek Park into a partial stormwater pond for a developer.
Thank you.
Thank you. Alderman Bry to the amendment.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. Now, and I understand Alderman Stickwitz's concerns because, being a member of the Plan Commission and Public Infrastructure, we've discussed this twice. But, and I'm not going to argue, it's fine. We can go to the city attorney's office, but I guess the question is it really setting a precedent, I guess, regarding the parkland? Because in this case, we've heard from our engineering department, from Adam, the community development, and myself, I guess, that part of Lincoln Park has no deed restrictions, as you mentioned. And number two is it's not in any plan to be developed to do anything there. I don't want to say it's useless land because obviously it's not useless land. It's a park, and now potentially will be a storm pond. But I don't think it really sets a precedent because the next park we go to or next area we go, we still have that right of first refusal or right to do that. This isn't doing that, but I'll certainly go along with the recommendation, I guess, to research it and see what we can come up with differently, I guess.
Sure, and to speak to that real briefly, I just have some concerns that there could potentially be a claim of unjust enrichment of one developer over another as well if we permit this to be done on public property, but in other situations, we've required the developer to do it on their own property. There could also potentially be an issue there, which is something we've required a number of other developers to do recently.
Thank you. I have Alderman Cummings next.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I do agree that we should validate that there is no precedent being set. So to that, I do agree with that. That being said, to not hold anything up, would we be able to approve it with a condition that is the condition that a precedent isn't being set? And then that way we can kind of work in the background to make sure that that's set up. And then only have a special meeting if necessary.
I'm trying to think. We could phrase it like a TIF or a TIF term sheet where at least staff has the parameters to work within and then sign off on it if those parameters are met. Could we do that?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, if I may, I think what could work is I can offer council an opinion in writing on this, not before tomorrow's meeting, but certainly in the future. And then if you want to authorize staff to structure this arrangement with the developers such that there isn't precedential value, or that we think that the risk is substantially reduced, we could go forward and do that. And then Adam and I could report back to you on the steps we took.
Yeah, I was gonna recommend that too, just because I know the developer obviously would like to start ordering stuff and, with supply and everything today. So if we could work it that way, I would ask if we could do that and then entrust staff to meet those parameters of council. And if they aren't able to be met, obviously we wouldn't sign off on it. And then we could have a special council meeting to talk about whatever else. Would that be acceptable? Alderman Sitkowitz, it's your motion, so I just want to.
Yeah, and I'm open to making things work here. So when we talk about consideration and precedent, those are two things. One is precedent, so it's not repeated, and two is consideration is usually dollar values, and typically we don't negotiate in public on that, but we have to come up to some agreement on that. So is that something we want to talk about in public?
I would strongly advise against that. I'm just interrupting you without having permissions. Hopefully that's okay, Mr. Chair. But I think if there's any member of council who has strong feelings about what dollar value of consideration, if any, you'd like to place on that, feel free to reach out either to me or Adam. We're probably equally difficult to get a hold of. And we'll be happy to work through that with you. Otherwise, if we don't hear from you, I think we can work with our contracted assessor to figure out what some sort of fair market value for that use of the land would be.
And I've already shared my number with you, so I'm fine.
Okay, so the motion on the floor is still to refer to city.
So I will rescind my motion with the understanding that there's going to be a motion that somebody could help me with or somebody else with to get to what we need to do.
Kathleen, you wanna, Alderman Reckelberg, you seconded it. I'm assuming you're okay with rescinding?
I am absolutely okay.
Okay, thank you.
I might suggest a motion to refer to city attorney and community development director to ensure that risk of setting precedent is minimized through consideration or some other means, with us to report back to the council at your next regularly scheduled meeting, not the organizational meeting. But that way we'll have the flexibility if we can work something out with a developer to let the development go forward more quickly.
I will make that motion.
Second.
This is why you get proclamations. I'm sorry, who seconded that? Alderman Reckelberg, okay. Okay, Cummings, whoever did. Okay, there's the motion, so this is a motion to amend, and a second. Is there any further discussion on that amendment? I think we all understand what's being said, okay. All those in favor of the amendment?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried unanimously. We're back to the original motion as amended. Any further discussion? Seeing none, then all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried unanimously. All right.
Document 372 is a resolution to proclaim May 4th, 2022 as World Migratory Bird Day in the city of Manitowoc. Committee returns same, recommending to adopt the resolution.
Council, your pleasure on this resolution.
Move for the adoption of the resolution, Mr. Mayor.
Second.
Motion and a second discussion. Alderman Cummings.
I have to say it, so may the 4th be with all world migratory birds.
Uh-huh.
Is there a motion to censure? Alderman?
This must be where I get kicked out, right?
Yeah, that's, yeah. Alderman Ruckelberg.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. Weren't we kicking him out or
Yep.
something? Okay.
Yep. We just had this discussion, kicking alders out. Any further that was a good one, Alderman Cummings. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried unanimously. Anything else, Alderman Brunner?
That will do it. That permanently completes my business.
Thank you. We'll move to the Public Safety Committee and Alderman Bill Schley as chair.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The clerk has the documents.
Document 328 is an ordinance to amend section 10.390 of the municipal code regulating parking on Washington Street. Committee returns same, recommending to adopt the ordinance.
What's your pleasure on this ordinance?
Move to amend the ordinance.
Second.
Motion and a second. Discussion. Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried unanimously.
Document 329 is an ordinance to amend section 14.110 of the municipal code regulating trapping. Committee returns same, recommending to adopt as amended.
What's your pleasure on this ordinance?
Actually amendment and motion to approve the amendment.
Thank you.
Second.
Motion second. Discussion. Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried unanimously. Anything else, Alderman Schley?
No, that concludes our business. The next meeting would be May 9th at 5:30 PM right here in this room. And I would like to also thank Alder Brunner. I remember a couple of years ago, he and I used to come and sit in on the meetings and watch the folks up here on the council when I was considering running for the council. And Alder Brunner is one of the people who encouraged me to run, and I'll never forget him for that.
Wait a minute, is that good or bad?
So I just want to thank you for your encouragement and your friendship.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman Schley. We'll move then to the Plan Commission reports.
Document 277 is an ordinance to rezone property located at 435 North 8th Street from B1 Office Residential District to B4 Central Business District. Plan Commission returns same, recommending to adopt the ordinance.
What's your pleasure on this ordinance?
Move to adopt the ordinance, Mr. Mayor.
Second.
Motion and a second. Discussion. Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried unanimously.
Document 371 is a resolution creating tax incremental district number 23, approving its project plan and establishing its boundaries. Plan Commission returns same, recommending to adopt the resolution.
What's your pleasure on this resolution?
Move to adopt the resolution, Mr. Mayor.
Second.
Motion and a second. Discussion. Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried unanimously. Anything else? That is it. Any other business from the council? If not, I would look for a motion to adjourn sine die per the last meeting. So Alderman Brunner, did you?
Adjourn.
Oh, we're gonna let Alderman Brunner do it? Or- You've been practicing all day.
Oh, yeah.
Is there a motion to adjourn sine die?
So moved, sign and die.
And we will have Alderman Brunner second it, how about?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned.